Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. Our guest today is Coffee County Mayor Gary Cordell, and he's been in office now for 6 or 8 months, and has some ideas about where he wants us to go over the next few years, and I thought we'd get together and talk a little bit about that. And so I want to thanks for taking time to join us, Gary. And
thank you. Glad to be here.
The review for the folks a little bit. What background did you bring to the office?
Okay. Reared on a farm in Grundy County, and so I'm a neighbor from Grundy County, and I learned the value of hard work early on. But going on, I went to got a degree from UT Chattanooga, and in business and accounting, and started out in cost accounting and budgeting at Blue Cross in Chattanooga, and worked there for a few years, and then transferred later on, or had the opportunity to go to work as an agent with Farm Bureau Insurance, and spent about right at 26 years there. So I enjoyed that, and I want to bring that management experience to the table to help lead our county forward.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, let's take a short commercial break, folks, and then we'll come back and talk about what's up.
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the two of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
Let the Smokehouse be your mountain getaway destination in beautiful Monteagle, Tennessee. Enjoy our cabins, restaurant, and old general store. Shop thesmokehouse.com, featuring homemade barbecue sauces, jellies, and many other fine Tennessee products. Our live Music on the Mountain series features some of the best local and Nashville talent every Friday and Saturday night, 6:30 p.m. No cover, kids welcome.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Coffee County Mayor Gary Cordell, and Cordell.
I've been called worse, so it's okay.
So we want to, Gary, you've been about 6 or 8 months, and I don't know how much you anticipated ahead of time what you were going to run into, but have there been a few surprises, a few bumps in the road?
Absolutely, been a few bumps, and as we were talking about on break, I'm excited about coming to the office every day, get up in the morning, and excited to get in there to see what's happening during the day. You never know from one phone call to the next or one visit to the next what's going to come up, and it's really exciting. Yes, we've had a few surprises and a few bumps, and someone calling about what you're going to do about these dogs running loose in Manchester. To just, you never know, but it is really exciting. I'm just honored and just tickled pink to be representing our county.
There you go. Expected to be the dog catcher as well, huh?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Back during the campaign, I thought we'd just touch briefly on this because it's bound to come up again. We were looking at a pretty sizable budget gap, and the question of a wheel tax began to be seriously considered. And I remember you're being in opposition to that. What you're thinking about that? Some folks think that's a more balanced, equal tax than the property tax.
It is, Tom. Looking at it 6 months down the road, still got some questions about the wheel tax as the way that would be implemented. I have no doubt that if it could be implemented across the board, it would be obviously a more even tax and would take some pressure off our property owners. Looking at it, as I said, 6 months down the road, after having that 29-cent property tax increase that was passed in early August, I think that got everyone's attention. And by the way, I just talked with our trustee earlier today, and he said that the door's open, and he said, tell the folks of the county we welcome anyone coming by and paying their property taxes. So, but having said that, that has put a tremendous tax burden on the shoulders of our property owners.
Yeah,
our
that was a
taxpayers.
whopping increase.
That was a big increase. And it really concerns me as to what that portends for the future as far as industrial development here in the county. I've learned in the last 6 months that one of the first things that a industry that may be looking to come to the county, one of the first things they would look at when they do the research would be your property tax base. And I'm really concerned that we cannot have another property tax increase like that.
Yeah.
So then the alternative to that comes down to a wheel tax.
Could be a wheel tax.
And I don't know that $50 was the right amount, but maybe we should look at 25 or whatever. But across the board, that would be a much more balanced tax.
Depends on how much money you're trying to
Yes,
raise,
sir.
yeah. But, and I remember, I confess I don't remember the exact number, but there was a very large percentage of the counties in Tennessee that do have a
Yes,
wheel
sir, they
tax. Probably half of them at least, yeah.
So I still want to do some more evaluation on that, but that may be the next logical alternative to coming up to another property tax increase. I just do not like the idea of putting another property tax increase on the burden of our people. And when you have, say, less than half of you people paying a property tax already, it'd be a fair tax with the wheel tax to tax everyone that's using our roads.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, in the county commission, which you are a part of but don't exactly control, a bunch of independent folks, and they tend to think pretty hard in the short term about the next election and about property tax increase and things like that. How is that going thus far? So far you haven't had any controversial subjects.
I've been real pleased with the interaction with the mayor's office and their 21 commissioners thus far. We've learned a lot. We have several new commissioners, as everyone in our county knows, so those individuals are just kind of learning their way through. And I want to, in time, Tom, to have more interaction in work sessions, so that as mayor I can apprise our full commission, maybe not in a commission meeting night, but in other sessions, as to some of the complexities and some of the issues we're working on, so that when those 21 people come to the table, when they have to make decisions affecting our taxpayers and everybody of our county, that we have as many facts as we can put on the table, so that, and they owe that to the people they represent, so that they can have all the, as much information they can, so they can make the best decision for our people. Yeah. And sometimes it's just hard to get that information to them no more often than we meet.
Well, and sometimes if you've got a real tough subject to deal with, and that was true with the wheel tax when we were looking at that a year ago, and you couldn't quite get the county commission to come up to a vote on that. They kept pushing it down the road until it became too late. Then you had no choice but to get that whopping property tax. Well, okay. And you've got another thing in terms of relationships, for reasons that I think are buried in history. The state has parceled out several of your departments for general election, for their own election, so they technically really don't work for you. But that's so you got a whole bunch of cats to herd there in a way. How you doing that? What are you going to do to get that to work?
Well, one thing I found out going into this, Tom, and 7 months before the election, one would have no knowledge of this, and I tried to do all the homework I could so that when I hit the ground running, I'd have some knowledge of the interaction of the different departments. But in Tennessee, by legislature, we have in the state what's called a weak mayoral system. Now, a lot of people may think in the county, or as I did, that, well, the mayor just controls everything. But that's not true, because you have those elected departments like the Sheriff's Department and Trustee's Office, County Court Clerk, Circuit Court Clerk, Register of Deeds, and the other tax assessor that I don't have the authority to interact, I love to interact with them, but not to control what they do on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
But we're trying to discuss. We've had some department head meetings, and I understand those maybe had not been done that often, if any, in the past, and so I want to have a quarterly department head meeting where we come together. I just want to hear from them as to what's going on in your world. And I've even, after having done 2 or 3 of those now, I've had different department heads would say that, well, I've been here for X number of years, but I didn't know what this department was doing, or that department, or that department. So I'm trying to get us together so we can begin to sing off the same sheet of music, so to speak, so we can work together as a team to be the best force we can for our county. Yeah. And it's exciting and interesting.
Well, that's good, and I must admit, I don't know whether, I'm surprised that there hasn't been some movement down through the years, at least that I haven't noticed one, to try to change that, to bring it into a more modern management arrangement. But I don't hear anything about it. So,
and that's just what the state has decreed many years ago, and that's just the system we have. But
yeah.
I would add, on a side note, I am really enjoying working with your mayor and Jody and Manchester mayor, and trying to sit down and talk and see how, as a county, we can come together to be stronger. We have a wonderful county. I'm so appreciative now. I was proud of our county before, but I'm really proud now, and working with our county workers and your Board of Aldermen and mayor, and the same in Manchester. But if we can, there's some ways we can come together as a team and a unit so we can even make our county even stronger.
Well, I remember that was one of your goals. We
Yes,
wanted
sir.
to talk some about that. You had a couple of goals that you were going to concentrate on this year, and that was one of them, to get the governments to work better together. There again, that's a little bit like herding cats too.
Yes,
So how you going to go? What do you hope to do with that? What are you trying to make work, if you would?
You're talking about working with our cities and bringing our county together?
Yeah.
Well, just attending the different functions that your city is having, in the same way in Manchester. So, and in time, have events that I'll be inviting representatives from Manchester and Tullahoma to come to at a county level, so we can just work better together. And one thing I'm thinking about trying, and this may not get off the ground, but I try to think of ways where we can come closer together as a county. But right now, for years in our county government, we've had 3 different caucuses. Our rural caucus, comprised of rural commissioners, and our Tullahoma caucus, comprised of Tullahoma commissioners and Manchester. And prior to our
These are within the county commission,
yes, sir.
three caucuses.
Right. And
right?
like your 7 commission members here, like on the Monday night before our Tuesday night county commission, they will have a caucus meeting to discuss items with the Tullahoma caucus in Manchester and the county. So, and I try to visit those to the extent I can, to be there if they have questions, to ask, Mayor, what's the county doing on this or whatever, so I can, try to bring them up to speed on that. But the thought hit me the other day, why can we not, in an effort to try to tie our county better together, I'm going to propose that we come together on that Monday night at the Administrative Plaza and have a joint session where we can discuss, so I can make a presentation to all 21 commissioners at one time, rather than trying to catch some here and miss some here and whatever, so they're all singing off the same sheet of music. So, and I can be there to field questions that they would ask about how will this affect the county, and then they could break out for their separate sessions if they still wanted to have a brief segment. My thinking on that, Tommy, is that if we come together,
they could have their caucus ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
they can do that, and that way we can come together. And I think that'd just be a step in trying to unify our county even more closely than we are now.
Well, that's yeah, and that brings a kind of an interesting point up also, and the fact that we elect commissioners on a district basis. They represent a defined area,
yes,
and
sir.
a defined group of people. So they've got that group to look after. That's an element of interest. Then the 7 Tullahoma commissions are hopefully thinking about things for all of Tullahoma.
As they should be.
And then the question is, okay, how do you get all that to come together to the county, instead of having 3 or 4 different groups? So that's another interesting management problem. So at least you're thinking about that, and you'd like to. Sounds like you're looking for a working session of the county commission before the actual meeting. Yeah.
And I enjoy working with our commissioners. We've got a great team of commissioners, and I think going forward, I think we're seeing a group coming together, and I think I'm seeing that it's not about politics, but it's about what we can come together for the good of our table to agree on and move our county forward. And just lay aside any differences we have at the door, but come together for the good of our county.
Well, and you maybe you're familiar with the number. There were you've got several new commissioners,
yes,
and I think what'd you say? Did I hear 7, 6? You got?
I think we got 11 or 12 new commissioners.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Out of 21.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So you do have a group that all of you need to learn together at the same time.
A lot of freshmen coming in as I am, so we're all learning together.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we need to take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll come back and talk some more.
At the time, maybe you were just building a bridge, a business, or a community. Maybe you were simply working for a home or a better tomorrow. At the time, you served out of duty and love of country. But in that time, we see a legacy created, an American dream lived. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
Are you tired of getting those letters in the mail being turned down for that new car due to bankruptcy, medical expenses, or divorce? Then look no further than Russell Barnett Kia. Good credit, bad credit, no problem. Here at Russell Barnett Kia, we are your bank. Dial 931-455-6066 or visit us on the web at russellbarnett.com. And remember, we are the bank and we can help you. Good credit, bad credit, no problem. Why buy anywhere else?
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Governor Gary Cordell, the Coffee County governor. And he's 6 months into the job, and we're trying to find out what he's got in mind for the foreseeable future. Gary, I remember hearing earlier, a couple of months ago, that you had settled on at least 2 primary goals for the year. One we've already talked some about in getting the several governments to work together, to come together and work together. But in addition, you had a couple of others, a capital improvement plan,
yes, sir,
which you wanted to do for the whole county, as I understood it. Is that right?
That'd be for the county buildings. We have about 30 properties or 30 buildings in the county that are owned by the county where we have our various departments. And with a capital improvement plan, which Coffee County does not have, and doing more research even after we talked earlier, very few counties in the state have that, but a capital improvement plan would be a long-term plan whereby we could start setting some funds available, thinking long-term for the replacement of a roof over the Administrative Plaza, for example, or we have, I think, 125 or whatever plus heat and air units. And some of those are 15, 18, 20, and 25 years of age. We've kind of pieced some of them together with baling wire and duct tape, and we're going to have to start replacing those. So I think it's trying to be proactive. We should not have a knee-jerk crisis response when a lot of those units go down, and start planning for the replacement of those so that when it comes time for that, we've got some money in reserve to do that.
Yeah.
And for like the Administrative Plaza there, we may be some 2 to 4 years away from having to replace the roof on that. And I'm going to propose when we get to that, because it's a flat roof. And when you walk through that building, you look up at the white tile and you see brown spots where we've got leaks all over the building. And that's just the structure of the flat roof system. But if we can put a pitched roof on that hopefully with a metal roof, that'll get the county down the road many years on that, but it's going to be expensive when that time comes. We don't have the funds for that now without having to look at another property tax increase, which I don't want us to even think about going.
Well, given the size of and the layout of that building, any kind of a roof is going to be expensive.
Yes, it will be.
I kind of have the same idea about the difference between a flat roof and a pitched roof. I never have quite understood that. Apparently they're cheaper, I guess, at least to put in initially. Okay, well, I guess I sort of had in mind that you were not just talking about the county operation itself, but trying to get the community's capital improvement plans to come together. But that's
I'm
not
sure what, Manchester and Tullahoma, that'd be a function of local government as it relates to their buildings. But this would be just a plan for the county-owned buildings.
Okay. All right. Well, and in that same conversation, in addition to the capital improvement plan, as you said, you were talking. You're looking at 4 to 10 years out into the future to figure out what it is you're going to need. In that same conversation, the question of a strategic plan came up. What have you got in mind there? What's it going to look like?
Tom, I'm not sure if any of us know yet what that animal will look like when we finally get it to the table, but I'd hoped we'd already have that in place. But my goal and vision for a long-term strategic development plan would be to try to pull together maybe 12 or 15 of the best business minds we can find in our county, with equal representation from the county, Manchester and Tullahoma, from industry, from our base, from retail, from industrial development to education to health to whatever, where we could bring a team of people together that are good forward thinkers and commission them with a task of, please, come back to the mayor's desk or office, if it takes 6 months, a year to develop that, the best strategic growth plan to make sure that our county is financially stable going forward, that we take into account any ideas for growth for the county and whatever, and come back with a 3, 5, 10, and 20-year long-range growth plan, so that we have some direction going forward, and rather than our county government just operating from year to year with maybe no long-term growth plan and just trying to get through this year, and we'll let next year take care of itself.
So you are thinking about including the two cities in that
absolutely.
In that plan.
Critically important to include all of our citizens and representation from our cities.
Well, that's that tends to be a fairly complicated proposition. I think just the way you've outlined it indicates that. And I noticed, as I mentioned during the break, that the city of Nashville, which has been doing that. I think their first one was in 1990, and they're crediting, and they update it every 5 years. And that's been credited, having that strategic plan and following it has been credited with the making a major contribution to the whopping growth that Nashville has had in recent years. So that is, but I noticed theirs is, I guess they decided it was complicated enough that they went to Atlanta and found someone who was in the strategic planning business to come in and oversee the development of that plan for them. So you may find you need some of that along the way as well.
May well, and I've already contacted a person that can bring some of that to the table, and he has conducted or been kind of the chairperson to having some of those plans done for other groups and businesses in the past, and he would do that for the county at no charge for his services. So free is pretty cheap. I like that, but he's brilliant. I think he could bring a lot of that to the table, and I'm glad to hear that Nashville has done that. And in Tennessee years ago, relative to the Public Law 1101 that was passed in the late 90s, I think in 99 each county had to bring to the table a 20-year growth plan, but we'll use part of that as a basis, but some of that was not as specific as I would want it to be as far as our financial debt structure and whatever looking forward down the road.
Well, of course, when you're doing a plan of that sort, your 20-year vision, is sort of general.
Yes, it is.
Your 10-year vision is going to have a little more meat to it, and then each year from there back.
Fine tune when you get down to 5 and 3
Yeah,
years.
right. You're going to you'll wind up with each year having its own thing. Well, okay. Have you changed your thoughts any, or on your goals? Have you got more, or you think you got enough on your plate for the first year?
Probably got enough for the first year. We will be going forward, and of course, as you and I talked briefly before we started today, I know a big project has been trying to get into our new jail. And I would report to the folks that we finally did get the last smoke test passed by the state, and they're in the process of issuing of us a certificate of occupancy. And we have a team out there this week that's actually beginning to polish the floors and whatever. So we're moving forward. And
well, I understood that was the last hurdle that they had to get over, huh? And
it's taken a while to get over that hurdle, but we finally got over that one.
That's funny. There seem to be a lot of surprises from outside. Let's touch. We only got a minute. Let's touch briefly. You also had an idea for jazzing up your main lobby in the administrative plaza. tell the folks briefly what you're thinking about there.
Okay, I'd wanted to in time, and I would welcome the input from people in the public that would have any ideas on this, and if we could have a designer come forward that would help us in that regard. I'm not good at designing, but, and if I may, just to take a moment, Tom, to tell the public why that thought came to my mind. We had an industrial development group from another country in the office just recently, 6 weeks or so ago, and when they left the office that day, I walked down through our corridor there in our main lobby thinking, is there anything in here that would really attract industry or whomever to this county? I want people to come in when they come in to have a warm, fuzzy feeling that, wow, this county has a lot going on. I want to be a part of this. And I'm not saying anything about our walls as they are, whatever, but I'm just wanting to spruce that up a little bit. And someone mentioned the idea of having a picture of the charter of the county right on that center wall when you come in. And then I would hope maybe we could accent agriculture and what that's meant to our county by having a section over here, agriculture past, present, future, and then what the base has brought to our county over time, and industry and healthcare and education, whatever, just so we have a wall of fame or whatever you want to call it down through there, so when people come in, they walk through there and they think, wow, I want to be a part of this county.
Well, you want to first of all get their attention and then give them some idea of who we are and what we've got. Huh? Okay. Well, with that, folks, we've run out of time. We're going to have to take a short commercial break and wrap up.
Imagine a world with more birthdays. We strive for it every day. We fight to get people the best access to care and the chance for more parties to plan. We're the American Cancer Society. Help create a world with more birthdays at morebirthdays.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We're back, folks, and we've been talking today with Coffee County Mayor Gary Cordell and finding out what he's got in mind for his first term as mayor. So, Gary, if you got a word you'd like to put to the folks?
Let me share briefly, Tom, that it's a privilege and an honor to serve the people of our county. We have a wonderful county, and I want to be the best mayor possibly can and try to keep our taxes low and get our county working together so that all across the state, that when people say, where are you from? I'm from the best county in the state. That's part of my goal for the county, and I encourage our people to come together. And I would like to, if I may, just mention that on Sunday afternoons, March the 8th, we're having an event there at the old courthouse in Manchester called a Sacred Assembly, which will be a focus time where churches and everybody in the county can come together for a time of prayer that afternoon for about 90 minutes. And I'm hoping we have representation from our churches and people all across our county.
That's in
Manchester.
In Manchester, in the old courthouse.
Yeah, right in front of the old courthouse. So it'll be a great day for our county.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, Gary, thanks very much for taking the time to be with us. And,
thanks for this opportunity.
Folks, we thank you for inviting us into your parlor, and we'll see you next time.